This is how I record a video on my phone and then post it to 5 different social networks at the same time. This is a full step-by-step process showing you everything after me just recording the draft in the TikTok app, how I get that video to all the social networks, how I generate my thumbnails, and how I utilize Notion, Blotato, N8N, and AdobeExpress to do everything. And for the record, the monthly cost for all of these tools comes to about $100. My video draft is already recorded, so I'm just going to open it up. I have all the cuts and edits done. So the next thing I'm going to do is add captions. I always add captions in the TikTok app because you can do single word captions and it bakes them right into the video. I always shrink it down, bring it down a little bit, not too much or else it'll get blocked by UI elements. That font is fine. I don't really care. Because this is a comment reply, I want a screenshot of this comment for later. So I'll just do a quick screenshot and I will crop it in. Because when I do a screen recording of this video later, I want a high quality version of this comment. Save. Instead of posting the video to TikTok and then getting a low quality version of that video, I always full screen this video in the editor and then do a screen recording to get the most high quality version of that video. I'm just going to let this video play out. The screen recording captures the audio in real time. Anytime you do, like you save a video from TikTok, there's a considerable delay in audio. So this captures it in a higher resolution than if you were to download the video. Even if you were to use a online downloader, this captures the audio with loudness maximized. So you'll also notice that videos that you download either from TikTok or from third-party apps, the audio is always way quieter, sometimes 15 to 20 decibels quieter. I'm gonna save that screen recording. Doing a screen recording on iOS captures the volume at its maximum, completely ignores how loud the video is that you're controlling with the speaker with the buttons on the side. All right, so that video was there. I need to start capturing description, hashtags, SEO, things I'm gonna use for the video. So I'm gonna hit down my quick action button and I'm gonna create a new entry in my neck habitat content database. Always ask for a title. How much does your 3D printer camera capture? Hit done. So it auto creates based on a template. So I'm gonna come down, this is a short, so I'm gonna tap that short template and then it auto populates. For every page in a database, there is gonna be all of these different assets that I populate, and N8N pulls the data from these and posts them to the different platforms. So it's a short, change that status to super send. My ID number is just the sequential number for this piece of content. So if I go to my content database, the last one I posted was 17, so this one's gonna be 18. So title. How much does your 3D printer camera see? Hate that it puts a hyphen in between 3D like I am a bot. Most of the time I post the video to TikTok and then I use this to post it everywhere else instead of just using one action to post everywhere. So post to, I'm gonna select YouTube Shorts, Instagram, Facebook, and X. Not every camera is created equal. And some 3D printer cameras capture a lot of the room. Every platform has a different character limit for titles, descriptions, and all that stuff. So I usually have a long description and a short description. So long description is usually my description, SEO, if any other hashtags, all get thrown into one paragraph. My short description is usually just the first sentence or two of the long description. 3D printer cameras, comma, 3D printing camera quality, comma. So the good thing about doing a screen recording of the video within the TikTok app means I have a high quality version of that video. The bad news is I need to do a minor edits to make this video ready for other platforms. So I'm gonna use Inshot, create a new video, import, change my canvas to 9:16, and then I zoom in the video so that it at least fills the frame. Sometimes I do it messy and there's a little black line at the top and bottom. Doesn't really matter. Hit OK. I'm going to add picture in picture because I have a album that has all of my logos just ready to go. So add my logo, shrink it down because I just want to cover that red arrow in the top right. So extend that picture in picture to the video end. I just need to trim off the beginning and end. There's always a frame where the title isn't shown and then it comes into frame. So that's always the frame that I cut at. Cut, delete, go to the end. The last frame right before the play button, boop, delete. That video is ready to go. Last but not least, because the screen recording doesn't capture the comment that I'm replying to, I have to import that as well. Drop it right there, cut it off so it's timed correctly. I want to make sure it's in frame for at least 3 seconds. Done. Export, always change from MOV to MP4. Screen recordings are a little north of 1080p resolution, so I'll always set my export resolution to 1440p. I hate that Inshot calls it 2K. Hit save, let it export. I'm gonna go pee. Uh-oh, you can probably hear this. Time to grab a thumbnail real quick, so I'll open up Adobe Express. I have a thumbnail template that I can just quickly add a photo to. So I'm gonna delete, delete this. I try to maintain a theme. I don't go crazy on these edits. I'm just going to change the hue of the background to something else. Let's do that. I will change the theme of this. Purple, nice. Hit done. Despite my disdain for Adobe products, AdobeExpress has this nice little wrap feature for text. So no matter the length of my title, it'll automatically fill a certain bounding box. What does your 3D printer camera really see? I think it's called dynamic wrap or something, but it just makes it really easy to make a properly sized title and center it. So I'm going to add one more asset that is just of a 3D printer. I know that I have a cutout of a 3D printer from before, so I'm just going to go grab that. Because this thumbnail is so light, I'm actually just going to change this font color to black. Actually, I'm going to change it to the same shade as the 3D printer. Boop. Now it's more of like a dark gray. All right, that's in my camera roll. Let's go back to Notion where the content database is. I always upload a copy of the thumbnail to that Notion page. The last thing I need to do is upload it to a cloud storage solution so that N8N, my automation platform, can tell Blotato, the API that posts to all the social networks, where to get that video file. So I use an app called OwlFiles. This just allows me to connect to a S3 bucket. Amazon S3 is a cloud hosting solution. So I'm going to connect to the buckets that I have set up for NAC Habitat, import photos, grab that video that I exported from Inshot. You can see all the other videos that I currently have in that bucket right now. So when it uploads from iOS, you always get a super shitty file name. So I need to rename this. How my files are named matters to so many other parts of what I do within my process and workflow. So how these things are spelled needs to be exact. So I always make sure that my file extension is in all lowercase so that it matches for N8N automations. And then I have a numerating file naming scheme for all of my content. So the socials are NAC Habitat, and this is a short. The year is 2026, and the piece of content is number 18, I think it was. And then my title, no spaces, no special characters other than those underscores. Hit OK. When the N8N automation runs and looks to my Notion database for posting, it is looking for exactly that file name. So that's how it knows which video to pull. Before I close out, I'm just going to copy this entire title, copy, hit OK, go back over to Notion, and then where I have file name, it's going to paste and then make sure that MP4 extension is on the end of that file name. OwlFiles puts file extensions in all uppercase and it matters, so I always make sure that it matches. This AWS link is what Blotato looks for in order to pull the video from AWS and then put it into the Blotato API, which gets posted to all the platforms. Okay, video is live in AWS. That's definitely the most tedious part of the process. I need to figure out how to make that better. So now that all of this information is live in Notion and ready for grabbing, open up my shortcuts, go down to NAC Habitat, and then I have a webhook shortcut. So when I tap this iOS shortcut, it sends a webhook trigger over to N8N, and then N8N begins the automation process where all the magic happens. So I'm gonna hit send. For some reason, I get a notification that this error is out, but it always goes through. So if I go over to Blotato, you can see that posts for Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram are all queued. 2 have already completed, one's processing, and another one is queued. Facebook is always second to last, and then Instagram usually goes last. Instagram always taking the longest by a long shot. While it's waiting, I'll show you that I can actually click on that and hit view post. It shows me that video on X. Fresh again, still processing. Go over to YouTube, click on view post. There it is on the YouTubes. Oh my God, still processing. This is the longest I've seen for sure. There we go, all completed. So I come over to executions within N8N. So this is a super sky-high view of how this automation works. The webhook from my iPhone started here, reached out to a Notion database here, sent the video to Blotato here, and then Blotato sent that video to all the platforms that I specified in Notion. Once all the posting is done, I have a waiting period that allows for all the content to finish processing. And then I have the second part of this automation, which goes back to Blotato and gets the URLs of all of those posts and then puts them back into my Notion database. So if I come to this piece of content and I scroll down, you'll see that the YouTube, Facebook, and X links are there. Instagram didn't work. That's something I'm troubleshooting right now. And then again, TikTok, I always post that video manually. So I'd sometimes just come back and add that manually. But if you were using this to post one video to everywhere without touching the platforms, you could make it so that all the URLs just automatically populated. So what this allows me to do is wherever I'm at, I can record a video within the TikTok app, get a screen recording of it so I have a high quality version, use that version to post to all the other social networks. And then I've got a local copy of that video that I can store for archiving. I'm able to generate the thumbnail pretty quickly just on my phone. And I can do this automation without touching a computer. And that's pretty much how I do all of my shorts nowadays.